Hello and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe, and I am your host. My name is Tricia Carr. In this episode, we are going to have a little bit of a sampling of some live streams that I recently did, and in case you didn't hear them, watch them, show up for them, I think then that'll be great because you'll get to hear these messages. But also, if you did, then you might be able to hear it in a different way, be able to bring something new in. So I'm going to give you a little sampling, and I'll explain each of them as we head into it. But before we do, I actually wanted to touch base with you. I just talked to my Modern Mystic Life membership. By the way, if you want to join, it's just $11 a month. It's really amazing. We have a workshop every month. We have a live group meditation every month. And then I also deliver energy updates and exclusive materials, content that help us we all kind of come together in the fashion of focusing, concentrating, contemplating on one subject all at a particular time. And the synchronicities are just like so amazing. So it's very low cost, and it's just a way for me to be able to stay in touch with a certain membership. It's also a way for you to support this podcast if you're interested. So check the link in the description, the show notes here, and join us there. But the reason I bring that up is not only because I want to invite you, but also because today I did an energy update. I shared it with that community and got the feedback about how much everybody else was going through what I explained, which is the Schumann resonance has been extremely high. Now, I actually do mention that in one of these clips that I'm about to play for you, one of the live stream clips. But I wanted to say it up front here because it's been really powerful. Now, the Schumann resonance is actually a scientifically measured electromagnetic charge of the earth. It actually happens because of it's actually attuned by lightning strikes that hit the earth. Now, I don't think that necessarily means that the second there's a lightning strike nearby, that there's just a kick up in the amplitude. I think it's more of a collective, charging that happens. And anyway, there is a whole spiritual side to it as well that we who are interested in, metaphysics, magic, and essentially, the ascension, where we're moving in the new earth. And so so it's really pretty cool because I see as it's where science and our spiritual perspective can come together and we can see the validation of it. So anyway, as I'm recording this, which I'm recording it on March 2nd. And so I'm talking about basically the last day of February. Was that the 28th? Yeah, February 28th, March 1st, and around that time, and depending on obviously your time zone anyway, Schumann resonance was really, really high. And I had some significant physical effects for me personally. One of the ones that's pretty common, and it's the inability to sleep. And just being activated, and I wasn't stressed about anything. I wasn't thinking about anything, just body awake and having a really hard time for a night or two. Last night wasn't as bad, but the night before was. And my husband had the same experience. And in addition to that, for me, I had GI issues. I had pain in my gut all up and down it. And that one, I don't know if that's as common. Could be just my, the way I experience, like my weak area or my sensitive area. But also another common is a lot of tinnitus, a lot of ringing in the ears, and also other things like loss of time, which I did have too. I just somehow it was 2 hours later than I expected it to be. That could be about timeline jumping. It could be about some other things which we talk about in one of these clips with my guest Jennifer Mitchell. But and then it also was about 10 or 12 days ago, same thing, and it was going on for a few days. And I also at that time I also had a migraine, and for 2 days. So those are some of the symptoms. And then someone gave me feedback from the Modern Mystic group that I can't remember that they were having other kinds of symptoms too. I think that they were maybe nauseated. And then I saw in a group that I belonged to for, everyone talking about the Schumann resonances, that some people were feeling weird perspectives, like either they felt really tall and large or they felt really small, which I didn't notice that. I laugh not because I just find it interesting, like what an interesting experience. And people were all saying like, I actually felt like I was suddenly taller than my partner. Oh, I felt smaller, and, different things like that. So I don't know, some interesting stuff. And it's all sort of leading to, I think, which is our ascension, our global ascension, our personal individual ascension as well. So I just thought I would share that with you guys. And also, of course, make that invitation to Modern Mystic, that membership, because we're all kind of coming together in a community on these different topics. And I am actually sharing this week in Modern Mystic content around a class that I did, a workshop that I did 2 years ago, actually, almost, or maybe a year and a half ago, called Gaia Resonance. And it does talk about the Schumann resonance, but it's also just talking about the vibration of our mother Gaia and our connection to her. So anyway, that's coming up. If you joined, then you'd be able to get that content as well. Now, if you are listening to this in the correct timing, I have the intuitive psychic development level 2. It's happening on Sunday. And at this time, there are just a few spots left. So I thought I would mention that. But, keep your eye out for it, because there's a lot happening. Really amazing programs coming up. I'm so excited about it. For profound awakening to a whole new soul experience, life experience. Just going to say that. But I also have on March 19th, advanced channeling. Both of these, in the one that's on Sunday, the intuitive psychic development level 2, that's experiential. And so we will be doing a lot of practice. That's why the spaces are limited, but a lot of practice, also attunement. It's going to be really awesome. But also the advanced channeling one, this is for people who have already started channeling, or whether they've just started to. Maybe you are an intuitive or a medium and channeling has started to come into your practice, or you've been practicing for a bit, channeling. It's to really, again, attune and clear and upgrade that channel. So I'll let you check that out. Those are the things I have going on. And now let's talk about the clips that we are going to listen to. This first one is a clip from a live stream that I did from the time that I'm recording this a week ago, and it is a message from Archangel Christiel and a council of golden light. I believe that's what they called it. So I'll play that for you. They do actually talk about physical symptoms. At the time, I don't think I was consciously privy to what had been going on with the Schumann resonance. So it might actually be part of the reason why they came through with that message about physical stuff that's going on. So I will leave you to that. I will come back when this one is through, and then I will introduce the next one. So here we go. We come to you today with the Golden Light Council. The mouthpiece of this council is the one who is called Archangel Christiel, he or she of the golden light and of the Christ light, bringing to you a heart-expanding attunement by way of a message for you in this day, for the many who would come to this, whether on your timeline or in the quantum timeline, the replay as you call it, but we like to say through this channel that it is time travel, for we would like to help you to understand that you are not bound by the constraints of time. In fact, time is given to you as a tool, as an instrument for you to experience wonder and delight and great expansion. We start here so that you can feel this inside of your beautiful and magical heart. The Archangel Christiel, flanked by many entities of high and interdimensional light, and also coalescing from the highest soul light of those who would come to this session today. This transmission proceeds forward, beginning with asking you in this moment, in this now, to take in a divine and expansive breath, breathing it into the heart center, allowing the eyes to close if this helps you to attune. As you do this, that you imagine, visualize, or simply welcome golden light to fill your heart space. And we do this through our channel at the same time now. We thank you for welcoming the golden light into your heart. We thank you for your attendance and your witness of this transmission. And yes, of the co-creation of it. We intend today to begin by filling you with the confidence that is your birthright. And even beyond your birth, the expanse of your eternal nature. It is your birthright to hold the confidence of all unfolding for the highest good. And you, in fact, are the vehicle for the highest good. As we say that time is your tool that was placed into your hands by the God Essence, by Prime Creator, we also say that you are the instrument that has been released from the hands of Prime Creator to create this expansion. And we come to you in great compassion today, for there are times that are quite troubling for your hearts. Yes, we see your hearts. Yes, we tend to your hearts. And we want to hold this space for you and highlight the fact that we come to you with compassion. You are not alone. You are held in great gratitude as well as a sense of honor that we see what it is that you are carrying and that you are holding it in your hearts. Those who come to this session are here to receive healing and to deliver healing onto the earth. And so as it is asked, it is given. And so we ask you to open up your heart vessel to receive that which you have asked for, starting with the witness that you are here doing the great work. And we want you to also feel that this work is for your pleasure as well, even as you are in suffering. And we bring to mind here, we bring to awareness that you are experiencing physical suffering. Yes, dear ones, we see that this is covering your race. And we bring to you the news that it is an off-gassing of the way that the planet has been played upon. And this is not a punishment in any way. This is a reciprocal dance between Mother Gaia, the soul that creates your planet, and also co-creates you. And that there has been a mingling, a playing, a working upon this earth surface that has created some despair. We speak to you of the ways that many of you hold in your heart, the awareness that there is a disease, that there is what you call pollution, that there is what you call the climate change, and the things that are creating the difficulties of natural experiencing. And some of you have witnessed the piles and piles of this despair in the ways that you have. You have witnessed it in your animals whom you hold so dearly to your hearts, for they are your ministers and they are your caretakers. Even as you are their physical caretakers, for you have the capacity to allow them to be well cared for or not. They are your soul caretakers, your animals, and your nature. And we say it is heard, your prayers that you send up, even when the prayers are held in despair, even when the prayers are held in panic. Your concern for how this planet will continue on. And we say that this planet, deep in her heart, deep in her soul, is quite well. And it is only a natural process that how there has been a disruption and a distortion between the relationship of the human beings and the interaction with the natural plane of this earth, that it would like a wave ripple out through even the bodies of the humans. And we give this to you as a way to help you to feel that you actually were aware of it all along, and that it is a process that is just taking place. And that, yes, there is a conclusion to this to some degree. There is a wave that you will surf over, and you will find the peace and the clarity and the well-being. You will find the resonance again between your Mother Earth, your Mother Gaia, and your nature and your physical human being bodies. This is coming to fruition for you again. And we do not speak to you in a way to predict the future, for you are creating it. And we would love for you to recognize that you do create your now. and your future. And in fact, you create your past as you witness it, as you observe it with compassion or with resistance. And so we welcome you to this duality that you can hold in your state, compassion or resistance. And we wish so much for you to hold compassion so that you can feel the truth of who you are. You are beings of compassion. So if you can take a moment now to summon your awareness of your past and hold it in a gentle and unconditional compassion, and yes, perhaps forgiveness. And just take a nice divine breath here so that you can be freed of the burdens of what you have witnessed in the past, whether by yourself, but yes, of course, by your brethren, your sisters, and your brothers. And let yourself not feel out of control or overwhelmed by the difficulties, of the actions, of the unconsciousness that has occurred. You do not need to carry that burden, and we would like for you to give yourself permission to put down these burdens of actions of the past. To come present now and hold in your state that wealth of forgiveness that your heart can do. Reminding you that this is the Golden Light Council and the Archangel Christiel, who holds the Christ light with you. And what is the Christ light? It is the capacity of your soul light becoming material by its state, by its trajectory, by its transduction. This is what you are, a device of transduction. You take an energy and you allow it to be shifted and changed and to become a new kind of energy. This happens in your physical plane, but first, before it does, it happens in your non-physical, your energetic plane. And so this is what we impress upon you. Many of you are students of what you call metaphysics and mysticism, of energetics, of spirituality. And we want to impress upon you that you have permission to hold this truth in your being, that it is your state that creates your reality, and that it is not the state of negative reinforcement or shame that is creating the reality that you truly desire, that you truly align within your soul, and that's why it hurts. And so even in your pain and suffering, even in that being of the physical experience when you have disease and when you have injury, we want to hold your hand and cradle your heart in the possibility that you can shift the state within even that painful vessel. And if we expand that out, that the vessel of the earth herself seems to be in pain, and that within that, you as a point of golden light can shift your state so that this vessel of the earth can also be healed and shifted. And now, as we conduct this into your hearts, this attunement of the golden light, we say that we are giving you the frequency of hope. Hope is not something that is only in the future. Hope is now. It is a faith. It is a walking prayer. And this is what you are called to be. You called yourself into this experience of incarnation as a spirit becoming physical to be a walking prayer. This is the concept of spirit becoming human. This is the Christ path. And yes, as you are able to anchor that spirit, that golden light of Christ light in you, of spirit becoming human, being the walking prayer, then you ascend and you take that path the opposite way. And this flowing between the realities and the dimensions and the awarenesses and the experiences of God essence, this is your birthright. And you can occupy all of it at once. You can, while being in the suffering or pain or awareness of suffering and pain which occurs in your reality, also hold the awareness of glory. And it is this path of folding one unto the other. And as you're able to give yourself permission to love yourself into the space, into the permission to let go of old past shame and pain, and to be the vessel of light, to be the walking prayer, then you get to experience that which feels correct for you. A lifestyle, a life path of miracles. And we ask you if you would like to join us in an exercise deepening this attunement, to close your eyes, now and take that nice big deep breath, for this turns you into the inner awareness. And on the release, you can imagine that you are releasing anything that is resistance that stands in the way of your true birthright, of your soul light. Imagine, visualize that the golden light in your heart is also before you as a golden light path. And it is the compass of this golden light inside the heart that keeps you on the golden light path, that helps you to feel or sense or imagine that the state is always bringing you back to this golden light path, and that you are here with an urge to do something beautiful and wonderful and to be a blessing. And we say, we see that you are. Now, there's the question of how this eternal nature can unfold. There is the question of past lives and future lives and multidimensionary kinds of existences. And we say this is all a part of what helps you to stay in the expanded space. Yes, you have past. Yes, you have future. Yet it all in your awareness is occurring now. And as you hold it all together, even though the linear brain wants to think of it as one or the other, black or white, we say that as you just hold the possibility that it is all happening at once, all of it is happening at once in your awareness, then you can truly be that expanded, multidimensional, omnidimensional expression of God's love. And so we hope that in this time that you can feel the hope of your heart and the healing of you, and that you will know genuinely, anchored deep down into the depths of your being, that you are light and that you are a walking prayer. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. Definitely something that wants to be brought into the unconscious, the subconscious, letting it wash over you, that kind of message, and maybe listen back to it. And now I have for you, this one is, this one's interesting. It's a segment from a live stream that I did back in, I think it was December. Anyway, and I was live with my friend Priscilla Jogminus, and a message came through from Mother Mary. Now, it's kind of a challenging message. It could be. So I just want to say, trigger warning. It's pretty assertive. Now, it's not like, I don't think it's mean, but I remember when I brought through the energy that it was like really big energy in my body. And this is not religious at all. It's not challenging anyone's religious paradigm. That's not the intention. So, but if you have specific religious beliefs around, let's say, the story in the Bible, then, I just want to say that this does not intend to offend or upset anyone. And, it's really just a metaphysical, philosophical pondering. Although Mary comes through with a pretty direct message. So I don't know what to do. I'm going to share it with you all and just trust that it is landing where it needs to land in the way that that is helpful and healing. That's my intention behind it. And that's what I believe the intention behind it was as it came through. So here we are. I actually got a message from Mother Mary. I shared it with one person. Aww. And I wasn't sure how or when. It was like 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't sure how or when I would share it beyond the one person I shared it with. And so it's, as you're talking about the womb, as you're talking about the power of the feminine, what Mary came forth with is it's interesting. She actually says first that they are telling lies about me. That they lie about me. Sorry.
Ooh, I'm getting chills. No, I'm getting it so much. Lilith is like, yeah, you go, girl. You tell him.
Yeah. So I think I'm just going to let her come through and with the grace that is placed upon me, as they call me full of grace. Yes, this is, but it is not enough. It is not reparations for the lies that are told about me. And when I say me, I say all of us. For it is the divine feminine and those who are walking on this planet with their feminine bodies, with the womb that this child speaks of, with the power that it is. For they deny me the truth of my womb. They deny me the fact that I connected with my lover in order to bring forth the power with the mechanism of the womb, with all that it is. They cast shame upon me. They say I did not have sexual relations. They say I did not have loving relations, but it is false. I loved passionately. I engaged in the process of creation fully with the full power of my body and my womb. And as I say that they cast the shame upon me, I call it out for all of the women, the past and the future, for the shame is not yours to carry. While it is a lie that is projected upon you, it is not true. You carry the womb of all of the assault. You carry in you, and it is time to release it, for your womb is pure and beautiful. And while it has been a lie that is projected upon you, they are also at once not speaking about me, because it is not something that can possibly resonate with the truth of who I am. The truth of who I am is lover and mother and creator. And so it is for you as well. And this lie can be cast out of your heart forever. It can be released from your womb forever. It was never true about you. And even though it is projected upon you, the truth of the power of your feminine body, your feminine spirit, your feminine soul is something that is being offered for you to be released of evermore. And you walk in the power of the light, of the grace and the power of the womb that brings forth something so much greater than itself. This is the truth of who you are. This is the truth of who I am. In grace, mercy, and love, I leave you with all of your divinity. Oh, wow. That actually made my head hurt a little bit. My crown was itching before when you were talking.
Oh my God.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to let me know how you felt about that, and hope again that it was received in love and in compassion for all of us. And now this last portion is a live stream that I did with Jennifer Mitchell, who was on my podcast a couple of episodes ago as I released this one. And we just as I record this now, we just live streamed earlier today. So this is just a section of some of our conversation. We talked about some pretty cosmic stuff. We talked about Dolores Cannon and again, that Schumann resonance that I mentioned. So I thought I would share this here and just make this whole full-length episode with a bit of a survey of how I have, what I've been doing on the live stream lately. So enjoy this chat with Jennifer Mitchell, and I will be back on the other side to bid you adieu. And here we go. Jennifer was just recently on my podcast, Charmed Life, and she shared some really cool experiences that she has witnessed with her clients. And so I thought we would talk about that. And hello, those of you who are joining us live. And those of you who are joining us live, we will take questions. You can put them right there in the feed. Any questions about spirituality, Dolores Cannon's work, hypnosis in general. So Jennifer, why don't you tell everyone, in case the people who are here, hi Courtney, in case the people who are here have never heard of QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. Hi Jeremy. Let everyone know what that is, or maybe who Dolores Cannon is, because she's still eternal.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll start with Dolores Cannon. I like to consider Dolores Cannon like a spiritual pioneer. She started doing past life regression work in the late 1950s, and she really pushed the boundaries and opened up these new ways of thinking during a time in which nobody was considering spirituality or past life regression. She authored over 17 books during her lifetime, and she regressed thousands of people worldwide and started QHHT. What really separates QHHT from different types of hypnotherapy is that she found a way to connect her clients with the higher self, the subconscious mind. It's that part of us that is connected to source that lives in every single one of us. And that's really where the quantum comes in the quantum healing. And with QHHT, it's truly the deepest type of work that a person can do. Connecting with the higher self in the quantum realm, you're able to scan not only past lives, but future lives, present. There is no time in quantum. So when we regress somebody and we're speaking to the higher self, there's really that ability to see everything that's going on. We can scan the body. The higher self can look for any discrepancies as far as like health-wise, and give you advice. I always ask my clients to bring a list of questions that they have, and we get all the answers for them as well to everything that's important and going on in their life.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it is really pretty incredible what Dolores did, because think about it, like you said, in the 50s. And women didn't even really, for the most part, have careers, let alone do something as spiritual and pioneering as all of that. And it really shook her own paradigm, her worldview. I remember reading how she said that I think the past life regression came spontaneously. Am I correct in that, as I recall?
Yes, you are correct in that. She was in the late 1950s. She was actually started doing this with her husband, and they were persecuted by, some members of society and people that maybe weren't as open-minded to the type of work that she was doing. And he actually stopped doing the line of work with her, but Dolores continued on her path. And they happened to stumble across the past life when they regressed a client and she went back to a previous lifetime. So it was honestly by mistake that she discovered it.
And then she was doing that for a while. She embraced that. And then clients spontaneously started like regressing or visiting lives from other planets. And that, like, again, blew her mind. And I remember reading how she said, like, she was resistant to it. It was like, okay, past life's one thing. I mean, that's enough. But she was really resistant to it. But then she sat with it a while and decided, well, if I resist this so much, I'm just like the church. I'm just as dogmatic and inflexible in my worldview and paradigm awareness as the church or other, dogmatic systems. So she embraced it, which again, she had no support, no one else to say, yeah, hey, I'm with you, like we do here, people who are showing up for this and you and I have together. It's amazing. And I just think that's such a great message for all of us, because we all feel like that. We are all who are embodying spiritual purpose, seeing a better future, seeing a new earth, and we're marginalized. I think we find community, fortunately, but the fact that Dolores was decades and decades, even beyond where the large population is now, but at least we're joining her in the quantum timeline. Thank you, Dolores. Yes. we see you. We believe you. I just think that's encouraging, and so I'm really appreciative of, and that she wrote all the books that she wrote, really documenting the case histories of her clients.
And Dolores received information coming through from her client's higher self about New Earth and everything that's going on right now with the spiritual awakening that we're going through, and this shift. She was talking about it 15, 20 years ago when nobody else was talking about it. I'm so sorry, my dogs are.
That's okay. Dogs are welcome.
Thank you. They're quiet all day until I hop on.
They're like, yes, talk about this. We agree. So as a QHHT practitioner, that's the modality that essentially Dolores created, developed. I mean, she had decades of her own work, and then it was, what was it, like the last 10, 15 years of her life that QHHT sort of coalesced into a modality?
Yes. So she started, with the past life regression, and then it really just developed when she realized that she was connecting to the oversoul or the higher self. Like, it has many names, subconscious, I refer to it typically. That's when she really started to develop the modality and realize that it was quantum, and named it QHHT, which for those of you listening that don't know what that stands for, it's Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And she was able to start traveling all across the world, teaching this modality, and before she passed, she started to build this large network of practitioners. And today her daughter, Julia, carries on her work, and we have practitioners globally, worldwide. So it's really amazing what she was able to accomplish in her lifetime just by following her instincts and not being afraid to continue on her path and what she knew to be right for her soul's purpose.
Such a good model. Yes. So everyone, let's continue on following that soul purpose, even if it seems daunting or unlikely that we're being received. It's work. It's doing what your soul has intended. And we talked about on the podcast that I should probably grab a link for that, the podcast episode that you were on recently about a client of yours who had, it was so amazing. Some people probably, who people may have heard it, but I'm going to also post it in here. Oh, I did also do a little video of it too. So there's on this YouTube channel, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, there's a just of the story of this amazing client experience that Jennifer had, but about, a contract that this couple had. But part of it was, they had an encounter, maybe an abduction, and they have a soul. They realize they have a soul purpose to interact and work with and with, our benevolent other planetary, brothers and sisters. And we're getting closer and closer to disclosure, which I'm not, I am more on the spiritual side of it than the actual literal technical side of disclosure. My husband keeps his finger on that pulse a little bit more than I do. But disclosure is the concept or the truth, the reality that our governments, not just the United States, but governments all across our planet have had relationship with other planetary beings for a while. Some of our technology comes from them, and that we're getting close to that being disclosed, being widely disclosed. It's partly because it's kind of getting harder for them to hide it. It's partly because it will be beneficial for us to understand it. I think it'll be difficult for a while for a lot of people to be able to integrate that concept, because for some people it's actually against their religion. Like Dolores was saying, it was against what she didn't realize. Oh, I guess it's against my religion, but I don't want it to be against my religion. And that to be able to make, but you know what? That's what Galileo faced. Galileo, when he was bringing forth a heliocentric solar system as opposed to a geocentric solar system, because he learned how to use lenses, just a technology as simple as lenses that in a telescope. And he was persecuted by the church and the government, were more obviously and overtly linked. And so he had to actually deny the fact. He had to deny heliocentrism because his life was threatened. And now we accept it as a fact. But it was a religious concept that the solar system and the universe was Earth-centric, that everything rotated around the Earth. So just imagine that. We used to have that paradigm.
I know. I'm just laughing because to imagine that we're it with all this undiscovered and vastness that's out there that we haven't even begun to tap in on, but we're the only species. It just doesn't even make sense.
Well, it's, in a way you could say it's arrogant, but it's also just juvenile, because children, literally human children, are egocentric. I mean, they're supposed to be, in order to learn somehow to fit on this world. And so one of the common ways that social psychologists will describe it is, if you ask a child who's 3 years old, why does it get dark and light? And the kid will say, so I can go to sleep, and then so I can wake up. It's literally the sun rises and sets for me. That's, and it's not arrogant. It's supposed to be that way. So if we think of ourselves in that stage of development too, that, okay, so our arrogance is that we're the center of the universe. We're just toddlers. Maybe it's okay. Hi there. Hello, everyone who's on right now. So I wanted to say that I'm really excited that disclosure may be getting closer. And I also, because you had that story that you shared of the client who had the encounter and they were missing time. I've been missing time the last couple of days, not 5 hours like your client did.
Wow.
But a couple of times, not today, it's been stable, but the 2 days before that, I lost it was between 60 to 90 minutes. at least. I don't know. It could have been more than that. And, but that's subtle enough to where I thought, oh, I must be like, what's wrong with me? You know what I mean? And I got really hyper vigilant about the clock because I was like, my day is getting away from me, but it never happens that way. And so I wanted to ask you, by the way, the Schumann resonance has been very, very high those 2 days where I lost time. And it was also like that about 10 days ago. And that, I think, helps us. It really helps us to off-gas some of the things that are pollutant in our energies. It makes us more accessible or available to be able to grasp higher awareness and higher consciousness, but it also has effects in our physical bodies. And this is a scientific concept, the Schumann resonance, and that it does actually affect us cognitively and physically. How did you experience the last 2 days? Did you have trouble sleeping, or did you have any physical symptoms, headaches, tinnitus, the ringing in the ears? Anything happen with you like that?
Some ringing in the ears, definitely. I get that oftentimes in the morning when I'm waking up, but I haven't had any missing time.
Good. It's weird.
Just the ringing in the ears, though, and yeah, that definitely I noticed that during certain time frames and certain periods. But the fact that you're missing time is very intriguing to me. I would love to regress you and find out what's going on.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's I think it could also just be jumping timelines. I don't know if something is literally going on. It could be. I mean, again, if we're working with quantum time, which is fluid or spherical or in some dimensions of it completely non-existent, then yeah, maybe something is also happening that you could regress me and find out if maybe somebody came down into my living room. So
you never know. I mean, my client we were shocked when we uncovered that. And I've had actually a lot of different, stories. That's definitely the one that we talked about on the podcast is one of the most unique stories. But I recently had a client a few weeks ago, and when we did a regression, she regressed to a body where it was reptilian, and she looked down and she had webbed feet, and she was standing at this terminal. I actually just posted on my Instagram about it. She was at this terminal. It was like an intergalactic terminal where she could go through these portals to these different planets. And I've had clients regress to lifetimes in Lemuria and just interesting things that we find. And sometimes through my work as a practitioner, what I typically find is, as we were saying earlier, time is quantum. So all of these experiences, they're happening simultaneously. There is no past, present, future. Everything and all these timelines and realms are happening and occurring at the same time. So it's very interesting what's uncovered.
With the story that you told on the podcast, and it's also on the YouTube channel. And have you had any? Is there any update that you're able to share about those people? No.
No, I haven't had any update. I've thought about reaching out, but I also want to respect, the privacy. And I feel that she will reach out when she's ready again. I'm sure I can feel that she will be reaching out again and be in need for another session with everything that was going on with that situation.
And so in case folks didn't hear it, so Jennifer had a client who was missing time and had some interesting experience. I'm just going to sum it up real fast, get to one part of it. Had some experiences of waking up in the night and not just missing time, but she and her partner both missed 5 hours, overtly, they were suddenly somewhere else immediately. And when Jennifer actually put her under, the higher self or the subconscious told them that there was proof on her phone. And so tell us what happened when after you did the whole session, you're probably antsy, oh man, I gotta go do these other things while she's under. But you got her out of hypnosis, and then you went and checked her phone together, right?
Yeah, and so absolutely. So just to also say, when she was under hypnosis, her subconscious did reveal that her and her husband had a soul contract, and that is part of their mission here in this lifetime is to help them and to work with the grays. It essentially is the grays that they're working with. And so her subconscious said to check the phone because there was video evidence that aligned with the time that was missing. So after the session and we come out, I was like, your subconscious told you to look at your phone. She says, I said that? And then, yeah. So we started scrolling through the pictures, and what we found was absolutely incredible. I've seen lots of photos of things in the sky, and I've never seen anything like what was on this lady's phone. So just to recap, so the point of view is they're pulled off on the side of the road. So they were going to the grocery store, and they don't remember going to the store. They woke up several hours later on the couch. So with the video, it shows them pulling off to the side of the road, standing on the side of the road, and there's these 3 spheres that are hovering in front of them, and she's filming it, and you can hear her husband in the background like, oh my goodness, what is it? What is it? And the 3 spheres are lined up all like this, perfectly even, perfectly aligned, and they're hovering, and then all of a sudden they just flip, and then they align vertically. And you can hear him freaking out, and she's like, what is going on? What is this? I've never seen anything like it. And then the most interesting thing happened is the 3 spheres, they melted into one, and it turned the color red, and it starts to come closer to them, and then the video cuts off. And yes, and what we discovered happened, they ended up, going on board the ship with them, and they were taking samples, and it was really incredible what was uncovered through the session. And yeah.
So cool. But I don't know. I know some people would be like, oh my God, I don't want to, but probably people here are like, no, I'm super into it. But it's also encouraging to me because you know what? Stuff is happening. It could be happening because I had some missing time. It could be happening with us. And, it has been, it's kind of commonly believed or accepted among those who are, like us on the spiritual side, interested in our interaction with interdimensional ETs. And then also in the disclosure conversation that the benevolent, brothers and sisters of other planets have deactivated our nuclear weapons. Do you know about this? Our weapons of mass destruction? Yeah, they've gone in there and they've like, we're going to turn that off. These kids need to not have that toy we do have like this agreement of the law of non-interference and that, that kind of spiritual principle. But because if we blow ourselves up, then that affects, our solar system and our galaxy. And, it has big universal ramifications. So, there's stuff afoot.
No, and it absolutely does. Everything is interconnected through all of the different realms and galaxies. And so when we do something like that, it is felt. It's felt through the universe.
Mm-hmm. And we have a question here. Have you seen that video? A couple was tapping themselves sleeping. The wife slowly fell into bed and vanished for a short time and then was returned. No, I haven't seen that.
I've not seen that. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I haven't, no.
Okay, if you can give us any more information about it, we would love to.
Yeah, a link or something would be cool.
Oh my gosh, someone said I'm hot. That's nice. I hope you're being nice and not like trolly. I'll take it though. I haven't been called that in years because I'm old. But anyway. So, I wanted to also wait. There was something else I wanted to share. I got all distracted. Oh, that has to do with the concept that like in 2027. Did you and I talk about human design a little bit?
No.
Okay, so do you know about human design?
A little bit. I'm a little bit familiar with it. I know I'm a generator.
Okay. Well, we are changing our paradigm is actually shifting. It's something that happens about every 170 years, our background frequency. So that is actually happening in 2027. And that's, that's just an astrological, a cosmological fact. It just happens every, what did I say, like 170, something like that. And then, but at the same time, what we're having is we're in a solar plexus mutation time. So our solar plexuses are being upgraded, and the people who are born after 2027 are going to going to have a very different energy type and be different. So, anyway, there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in a lot of different areas. And I would say the other thing, like what we've been going through with this worldwide pandemic, with the virus and the viruses, that's actually, we're a part of, we are intrinsically, we are the earth herself. And I think the earth is also off gassing, and it's happening through us, maybe because of our own actions, because of our own hands. But I think we can, if we step way back, we can see that there's a lot that's changing. And
Yes.
it's funny because I told my husband that I feel like I kind of hesitate to say something like that, because I just assume that because it's happened in other like religions that have for example, the Jehovah's Witnesses, that religion started because they believed there was an end times coming, and so they like sold all their possessions and they retreated, and they were expecting the Messiah to return, and that's happened a few times. And so I'm like, is it a pattern though? Is that just what we think when we get around, older adulthood? We just think things are really big and important, but I don't know.
I wonder that too. Maybe it's as we age and we reach, older adulthood, to your point, but then I see it in younger people as well. And I think it's undeniable to many people that something has shifted. We're starting to vibrate from out of this 3D mind matrix way of life to more of a heart-based existence. And that is vibrating us to this fifth dimension. And ironically, it feels like it was onset and, the pandemic brought this on, which is so weird the way that the two are intertwined. But a lot of things changed for many people. I know countless people who, through the pandemic, were, who changed their careers or who just like completely shifted and had this awakening. And so it's very interesting to me how the two are connected, but I think it's undeniable. And I think people of all ages are experiencing it, something along those lines.
Yeah. And to the pandemic again, so back to human design, I guess, prophecy, you would say the incarnation cross that we're under now until 2027 is called the cross of planning, and the overall frequency there is tribal. And now, to put that in context, I mean, we think of tribal, take care of the tribe and everything, but it's more of the primitive tribal kind of mindset where the individual inside the tribe doesn't really have a lot of autonomy. It's this, and so it has like this concept of being a small collective identity, and then also having the other tribes. So there's both a loss of autonomy or a neutralizing of autonomy, and then grouping, which we see in our politics, us versus them, is very polarized. So there's both a neutralization of the individual sovereignty and a polarization against groups. That's what this cross of planning kind of has as an undertone. I mean, there's positive sides to it, but that's where we are right now, shifting from that to the cross of the sleeping phoenix is what we're going to. And the quality of that is more autonomous, individuated. And in the sense that we have the opportunity to be sovereign and satisfied in the self, that gives us the opportunity to take care of one another too. So it's less like selfish service to self as much as it is actualization of the self. And then that will make us more collective in a positive way, aware. And that happened with the pandemic too. They called it the big quit or the big resignation. Like you said, people changed their careers. They're like, I don't want to go back to that job. I realized that I was miserable. I'm going to do something else.
Here.
You're one of them.
No, and Tricia, I was absolutely miserable. I had a very high profile position at a large company here where I'm based out of Las Vegas. And I was, spending my day sitting in these boardroom meetings, learning about finances and Six Sigma. And I found myself looking, out the window and just daydreaming about, like, there's got to be more than this. And I was so miserable. I was drinking vodka in the parking lot at 6:30 in the morning. And one day, I know it was a habit of crying, before going into work. And I stopped and I just looked at my life and I said, I can't do this anymore. I know that I have a higher purpose, a higher calling, and I'm just going to go with it. And I gave my resignation and I started doing this work. I knew that I was meant to do this work. And here I am. It's 2.5 years later. Time's gone by so fast. And it's the best thing that I've ever done. And it was scary at first. Yes, I will admit that. But the universe always has a way of providing. And when you follow your soul's purpose and you're aligned with that purpose, then everything just unfolds the way it's supposed to.
Mm. And I want to add to that download that I got, because I had a sense we were going to talk about this. You know what I mean? Following your purpose. I had a download about it on the way into the studio today, and the way that we can tolerate the difficulties and how hard it is and how scary it is to follow your soul purpose, to have a kind of sense of life purpose, to move forward, and with Dolores Cannon as our model, to push forward in a way that doesn't make sense by what we see as the world and the homogenized world. And we don't have very many, or, we don't have the world agreeing with us. And so what we really need in order to be able to tolerate the challenges and the troubles and even the pain and suffering of following our life purpose or our soul purpose is play. If we can think of and be in the vibration of life as play and be able to somehow lighten up and pivot to play, that will help us to be able to just move forward and stay in the energy of it. Now, that doesn't mean taking things so that we aren't really available in a serious way. And it doesn't mean that we are spiritually bypassing and not really considering life serious. It's more of it's how we are encouraged by signs and synchronicities, being able to wait for the next synchronicity to affirm for us, hey, this is working out. And even getting present enough to be certain that there must be a sign and a synchronicity here. Even that energy of it can help us to be in the lightness of play. And the reason for that is because if you think about when we were children, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to play. And a child at play is so creative. Your natural creator self wants to play. And it really wasn't necessary for us to take children out of the mindset and out of the energy of play in order to also educate them. I don't know how to do it. I don't have kids, so I'm not shaming any of us or my parents or anybody. But we can also have play as a part of learning and have the world, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the missing link, is to be able to somehow pivot to play, lightness of being, and the expectation. Maybe it's more like, it's also like being the light of faith inside your being. I mean, we know that scientifically that expectation of things working out, that mindset, it makes us healthier. It gives us the capacity to be out of disease and out of inflammation more. So I don't know. Does that help? Does it help you?
Absolutely. No, and I would wholeheartedly agree. And to your point, it's not, being at play isn't about, ignoring responsibilities, as an adult, but it's also about balance. And you do invoke that creativeness when you take that stress off and then you just have fun with it. The creativeness will flow. And for me, it's also about trust, trusting that my intuition is guiding me in the right direction. My intuition's never been wrong, but I've always, society wants to teach us to not necessarily follow or listen to it. And when we put that paradigm or that thought aside and we go with our intuition, that's when things unfold. And having that trust, it relieves the stress too. Like when you can just go with the flow, be creative, have fun, and have that balance in your life.
Yeah. And while your intuition, like you said, it's not wrong, I also don't always understand where I'm being led. So if I can trust, be in that faith that, well, I may not understand why this is working now, but I'm open to how it will be showing itself to me. I think that's a part of the equation too. Yeah. Well, let everyone know how they can work with you. Tell everyone what I have I'm going to highlight your website here, but just tell everyone what you're doing and how they could work with you.
Absolutely. So I am a QHHT, and I'm also now recently certified in BQH, which is the online version of quantum healing practitioner. Yay. So I work with the deepest realms of the subconscious mind to help heal and get answers to all of your life's questions. I do past life regression is also included in a session. If you'd like to work with me, definitely reach out. If you have any questions, reach out. I can be found. My email address, I'll start there, is the soul experience jennifermitchellv@gmail.com. And my Instagram handle is Jennifer Mitchell, QHHT. And you can visit me online at The Soul Experiences, and that's plural with an S, thesoulexperiences.com.
Awesome. I'm so glad you can do it online now. You were so
Me
close
too.
to it so that's great because now the whole world is your client base.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this little sampling of some content that I have been doing on my live stream. I'm planning to do this every Thursday. You can just, if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, but I also multi-stream, so it's on Facebook, in the Facebook group, on my Facebook business profile. I think it's on Twitter too. Yeah, I think I put it on Twitter as well. But the most sure way that you can find it is if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then when I announce them, when I like actually schedule it on YouTube, and then you can go and like click the bell for it to notify you so you can get a reminder. And then of course, if you're on my newsletter, that's the best way to stay on top of, most of the happenings. And I have an announcement for you. I have now implemented a way for you to actually connect with me. If you listen to the podcast, that you can connect with me in one of two ways. First of all, if you go down into the description and into the show notes here, you'll find a link for a Google form. You just click through, and then you can actually post in there by text any comment or question that you have. Because with podcasts, they don't have the comment section the way they do with YouTube and whatnot. So you can actually do that on a Google form. Now, I want to let you know that if you do that, I'm going to just mention your name, and then, but you can make requests, you can ask questions, and I will talk about it on the podcast. And then also, I'm going to implement a way for you to leave me a voicemail, a 1-minute voicemail, where you can ask questions and make comments, and I will also share those on the podcast. So check the show notes, keep your eye out for those, and it's going to be a lot of fun. That's what I have for you, and I have a lot of conversation episodes coming up as well, and I just look forward to connecting with you more. Thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.